welcome back to the channel. I got my lucky Hawaiian shirt on. There's a thunderstorm outside. Those things pair nicely. And this is going to be a less heavy video. I'm going to get into my favorite self-help books. So without further ado, I'm running no script. So this is just kind of like a chat. So here we go. The first one on the list is a book called No One Is to Blame by a guy named Bob Hoffman. I believe that he ran a trauma institute out in San Francisco many years ago. And I love the book. It's a little bit different than my own style of therapy, where he might have the client move through a process, including forgiveness, in a very sort of fast-paced way, where mine is sort of a little bit slower. With forgiveness, if we get there or if we want to get there, comes like at the last stages of the work. But there's an exercise in this book that I absolutely love, and I started doing it in my own groups. The exercise is called absorption and rejection, with the idea that you pick one of your parents and you come up with a list of adjectives. I'll have a list of adjectives in the link in the description of the video to give you guys how it works. Is you write down the qualities of your parents that you absorbed. Like if you're moody, if you're isolative, if you're reactive. You know, we learn these things from our parents, but what we also do as children is we reject qualities. So I often tell the story about my dad being very aggressive with people, and then as a boy seeing that, and I hated that behavior, is I became really passive, which is an opposite strategy that Hoffman talks about. It becomes, you know, something that just becomes just as dysfunctional as what the parent modeled. So my dad was aggressive. I became super passive. People could take advantage of me. I had to do work around that, reclaim my voice. So that's what I mean about absorption and rejection. And he's got a lot of other wonderful stuff in that book about sort of a very simple way to kind of view people who are difficult, which I love, in terms of a pendulum about sort of 3 types of people that I found was just sort of genius. And that exercise is of absorption and rejection is a very powerful way to know yourself in a deeper level and to start to do some, it's like shadow work. It's really seeing like what are the negatives that we bring into the table, which is a huge part of our maturity. So Bob Hoffman, No One Is to Blame. You can't miss with it. It's a great book. If you're new to me or new to the channel, welcome. If you like this video, hit some buttons on the screen. You can't mess with any of those buttons. If you find that this video is helpful to you or helpful to your recovery, you can consider to support the work that goes into this channel over at my Patreon. I will have the links in the description of the video. And I don't have any third-party sponsorships on this channel because I find that it'll muck things up for you guys, the viewer. If you want to connect with me, you can join my email list on my website or check out my childhood trauma coursework that I have there. And you can also check in with me at Instagram, and I now have a TikTok, and I will again have all the links in the description of this video. The next book is called Psychotherapeutic Reiki, written by my Reiki mentor, Dr. Richard Curtin. Richard is a PsyD who had discovered Reiki in his own work and brought that into his practice. And what I really love about this book is he kind of creates treatment plans in a more formulaic as well as ethical approach about how to bring Reiki into the therapeutic session. Covered in the book are things like how to introduce table work to clients, the use of breath work, treatment techniques and exploring for the release of negative effects held in the body, as well as how to use intention and affirmation for cognitive, emotional, and behavioral change. Reiki was a huge part of my own recovery. When I was doing my childhood trauma group work, I started to learn Reiki and doing Reiki on myself. It's a powerful way to connect with your inner child. And I know that Reiki isn't really for everybody. Some people just consider it kind of a pseudoscience, but one piece that maybe people aren't really that aware of is that Reiki is now being offered on oncology units along with acupuncture. It is a very powerful holistic tool, and you can't go wrong with this book to get more into the ins and outs about sort of Reiki work and pairing that with psychotherapy. Moving on, and I've mentioned this book in other videos that I made, this is a book called Healthy Parenting by a woman named Janet Woititz. And she is writing this book from the lens of perspective of growing up in an alcoholic family, but it is really a book that is for parents that have grown up in dysfunction. So she really talks about what it means to be a parent who didn't get their own needs met growing up. She walks through very concrete examples like this top 10 list of healthy family system rules versus unhealthy family system rules. I use that handout in every group to educate people on what is sort of healthy versus unhealthy, because as trauma survivors, we often have no idea what, or no reference for what is healthy. And I love that she's so definitive about it. She also talks about a concept, things like different types of parenting styles, like the immature parent or the popular parent, meaning the parent who's trying to be popular with you, or the authoritarian parent. And I can't say enough about this book. So Janet Woititz, Healthy Parenting. Next up is a huge book for me. This is Margaret Paul's Inner Bonding. It is really about establishing a relationship, which is what my work is all really about, of the relationship of self. And when we think about inner child work, what I really love about the book is she's advocating that all of the work is going to be happening from the adult, that the adult part of us is the one that needs to be open to our inner child, to be open to our inner experience. And this is a very, very helpful book. She creates a flowchart about what it looks like when we are closed off from our emotional experience or closed off from our inner child, and then takes you through the flowchart about what happens to us emotionally, how we behave with others when we are not having that inner adult in place. There is a part on here, just FYI, if you sort of have religious trauma. She does mention God here and there. That I wouldn't discount the book I wouldn't discount the book just because of that issue. I really think it's a powerful book. You can just think about sort of replace that small God issue with a sense of higher self, but that is such a minor note in this. I just wanted to give you guys a head up, but I can't speak highly enough about this book. Through my copy, there is loads of sort of earmarks and notes and all kinds of stuff. And I've used a handout from this book in my own groups myself to try to differentiate between the adult and the inner child. So, Inner Bonding by Margaret Paul. This book is going to be very familiar to you guys. If I might have addressed this book or talked about this book in at least half of my videos. This is John Bradshaw's Homecoming. When I start with all clients, either in group and individual, I have them read the first 4 chapters of this book because it's excellent. It's an excellent deep dive into your family system of origin and the effects of what happens to kids when they grow up without sort of having a safe security base, when they're growing up in toxicity, when they're growing up in dysfunction. And it really is sort of a developmental book in terms of the inner child. He walks through stages of what we need at different points in our infancy, toddlerhood, sort of grammar school age, adolescence, and I can't say enough about this book. It's the place that I start everywhere with all of my clients. And these are not in order, but this book changed my life. This is The Artist's Way by Julie Cameron. And it is ideally done with other people, and what it is, it's sort of like I believe it's like an 8-week course that you do. And I wouldn't be doing this video. I wouldn't be putting myself out there in the world and doing creative stuff like I'm doing had it not been for this book. This book changed my life. They all sort of did, but this one sort of changed it in a different way. It is a self-help book, but it is really about self-expression, making it okay to play, making it okay to put yourself out there, because we all have repressed most of us have repressed wants for being more creative and being more expressive. Writers, artists, painters, filmmakers, all that kind of stuff. And what I really love about it is it's very inner child based. She talks about like an artistic wound. Like you're in the 3rd grade and you make a drawing, you really wanted to show it to your teacher and she was disinterested or something like that. Stuff that would probably be happening at home as well. So meeting an artistic wound where we give up on being expressive at a younger age. And the exercises are fantastic. There's sort of notes. You could look at this as sort of both a textbook, you kind of write stuff in there. And what I really love about the book is that she makes you do an artist date every week where you take time out of your life and you go do something for you. You take your inner child to the comic book store, you go to a farmer's market and you get blueberries, and that's like something that you would never spend money on. That kind of thing, to do luxurious things for yourself to get some creativity going. It's interesting, she also to address the process addiction of reading, she might have you stop reading for a week or stop doing the thing that is your coping thing, like Netflix or video games and stuff like that. So I can't say enough about this book. So anyway, guys, I hope that was helpful to you. As always, I'll have the links to the description, in the video. Let me start there again. And as always, guys, I hope this quick video was helpful to you. I will have the links in the description of this video, as well as that adjective list from the Bob Hoffman book. And as always, guys, may you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be joyous. Take care, guys.